My wife told me her coworker needed a place to crash after a breakup. I let him stay in our guest room. One night, I heard whispering in the kitchen. When I walked in, she jumped like a thief. He just looked me in the eye and said, "You're too nice, man." The next morning, they were gone. So was my dog. 3 months later, they came back, to sue me. What they didn't know was I'd been recording every text, call, and lie. I'm 42. I live in Fort Collins, Colorado. Been here most of my life. Quiet town, decent job, and I had what I thought was a solid marriage. My wife Kelly and I had been together for almost a decade. No kids, just the two of us and my golden retriever, Bear. I'd had Bear since he was a pup. That dog got me through losing my dad, a rough divorce before Kelly, and some dark nights I don't like talking about. Kelly worked for a marketing company in town. One of those fast-paced, trendy offices where everyone's young and full of energy. I'm not going to lie. I always felt like the boring husband. I'd come home, make dinner, throw a ball for Bear, and go to bed early. Kelly was different. Always out late with coworkers, always on her phone, always tired. She started talking about this guy at work, Darren. Said he was smart. Said he was going through a breakup and having a hard time. I didn't think much of it at first. Then one Friday night she came home and told me Darren needed a place to stay. His girlfriend kicked him out and he had no family nearby. He just needs a few nights, she said. I paused. Why can't he get a hotel? He's broke. Everything went to rent and bills. She locked him out. And he doesn't have any other friends? She crossed her arms and stared at me. Why are you being like this? You let your buddy Dave crash here when he was between places. Dave's my best friend from college. This guy? I met him once. He's not going to bother you, she said. He just needs a couch. He's not some weirdo. I felt backed into a corner. She looked at me like I was being cruel. I didn't want to start a fight, so I said fine. A few days, no more. Darren moved in that Sunday. Brought 2 duffel bags, a laptop, and a smug little smile. I tried to keep my distance. I work from home, so I'd hear him come and go. Kelly still acted normal, at first. We'd eat dinner, watch TV, nothing felt off, until it did. Around the second week, she started acting different. She'd shower late at night. She wore pajamas to bed again, full long-sleeve ones, which she hadn't done in years. She put a lock on her phone. She was on it all the time, smiling to herself. And Darren? He got real comfortable. Walked around shirtless. Left dishes in the sink. Used my razor once. I told her. She shrugged. He's going through it, she said. Then I noticed something else. Our security system app showed offline. We had cameras in the living room and kitchen. Not hidden, just there for peace of mind. When I asked about it, she said the batteries must have died. Thing is, they didn't run on batteries. I checked and the app had been manually disabled. That's when I started getting suspicious. I'm no tech wizard, but I know how to handle myself. I re-enabled the main camera, and I ordered 2 small motion-activated cameras online. One I put in the living room near the bookshelves. The other faced the kitchen entryway. I told no one. Then I started watching. Not just the cameras, I started backing up texts. I had access to our phone account, so I downloaded call logs. I screenshotted messages when her phone would light up near me. I synced my phone to her old iCloud, she never changed the password, and it pulled in backup data, pictures, notes, calendar invites. I didn't even know iPhones did that. That's how I found the first photo. A selfie of her and Darren, both in my house, sitting on the couch, wine glasses in hand, Bear curled up at their feet. The time stamp was from a night she told me she was out getting drinks with coworkers. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed more. A week later, I got it. It was around 2:45 in the morning. I woke up and heard soft voices downstairs. I got up, didn't turn on the lights, and went to the top of the stairs. I could hear them laughing. Then whispering. Then nothing. I went down quietly. When I stepped into the kitchen, Kelly flinched so hard she dropped the glass in her hand. Darren didn't flinch. He just stared at me. Shirtless, barefoot, and holding a beer. Then he said it, calm, casual. "You're too nice, man. That's all." I didn't say a word. I turned around, walked upstairs, and closed the door. The next morning, they were gone. No note. No texts. No goodbye. She emptied her half of the closet. Took 2 suitcases. And Bear. His leash, his bowls, his food, all gone. She stole my dog. I lost it. I called her. Straight to voicemail. I texted. Nothing. 3 days passed. Then a week. Then 3. Finally, I got a letter from a lawyer. Divorce papers. She was filing. Claimed I was controlling and emotionally distant. I was angry, but I still hadn't really processed it. Until the second letter came. It was another legal notice. This time, they were suing me. Darren and Kelly, together. Claimed I violated privacy laws by recording them. Claimed I created a hostile living situation and caused mental distress. They wanted money. Actual damages. They sued me. That's when something in me snapped. They thought I was soft. That I'd roll over. They had no idea. I got a lawyer. Then I got another. And then another. I turned over everything. Camera footage. Text messages. Emails. Photos. Even a screenshot of a calendar entry titled D+K Weekend Getaway. "Tell him you're at work" thing. They had no clue how much I knew. And I wasn't even done yet. After I handed everything to my lawyer, he stared at me in silence for a long time. Then he leaned back and said, "This isn't just a defense. This is a damn case." But I wasn't just defending myself. I wanted them exposed. So I kept digging. I reached out to an old friend of mine, Mark, who worked in IT security. Told him the basics. He showed me how to recover deleted files from the shared home computer. That's how I found an old folder Kelly never fully deleted. It had scanned copies of fake expense reports from her job. Small amounts, 20 here, 50 there. All marked as client lunch or team snacks. But I knew she worked remotely most days. There were no team lunches. There were receipts too, hotel stays, drinks, even lingerie, paid with her work card, then listed under fake business reasons. I made copies. Sent them, anonymously, to her company's internal audit department. Then I looked into Darren. Found his LinkedIn. Saw he'd been at 5 companies in 7 years. 2 of those companies didn't exist anymore. The third one still had a company Facebook page. I messaged someone listed as an old coworker. Didn't say much, just said I was doing some background checks. She responded 3 days later. He was asked to leave. There were complaints. That's all she wrote. So I did some digging through old Reddit posts, local court listings, even Facebook community groups. Eventually, I found a thread. A woman in Denver was warning others about a smooth-talking guy who dated women at work, mooched off them, and disappeared with money or electronics. Sounded just like Darren. I sent that to my lawyer too. He said it might not be admissible, but it painted a picture. But then things took a turn. One morning, I woke up to find my car windshield smashed. Nothing stolen. Just shattered. No cameras caught it. Was parked on the street that night because I'd been clearing the garage. Later that day, I got a text from a number I didn't know. You think this is over? You're obsessed. Move on. I didn't respond. Instead, I brought the phone to my lawyer. He said not to engage. Just keep collecting. So I did. 2 weeks later, Bear turned up. I got a call from an animal shelter in Boulder. They said someone had dropped off a golden retriever, no collar, no ID. But they scanned the microchip, and it traced back to me. I drove down that same day. When I walked in, Bear jumped up so fast he knocked over the worker holding the leash. I held on to him like I hadn't eaten in a week. On the drive back, I cried. Not out of sadness. Just everything boiling over. That night, I got another text. You don't deserve that dog. I turned everything over again. Then Kelly made a mistake. She emailed me, actually emailed. Saying if I didn't drop the recordings, they'd settle quietly and forget about suing. She said I'd humiliated her enough. She admitted everything. And that email? That was gold. My lawyer said, we're going to bury them. But I wasn't done yet. Just when I thought I had everything, something new landed in my lap. I got a call from a number in California. I don't usually answer unknown calls, but something told me to pick it up. Is this Matt? Matt Reed? Yeah. Who's this? The voice on the other end paused. I'm sorry to bother you. My name's Tasha. I used to date Darren. Found your info through a mutual, well, someone who thought I should know what's going on. Turns out, Darren had a pattern. Same story. Different woman. Tasha said she dated him for 7 months. He moved in with her 2 weeks after they met. Said he'd just gotten out of a bad breakup, had nowhere to go, was trying to get his life back on track. Sound familiar? He stole from me, she said. My MacBook, some cash, my Netflix account. But more than that, he wrecked me emotionally. I tried warning people, but no one listens. She said someone in a Facebook group had shared my situation. Not all the details, but enough that she knew it was him. I asked if she'd write a statement. She didn't even hesitate. 3 days later, my lawyer had her signed affidavit in hand. But then, another twist. Kelly showed up at my house. It was raining. I saw her through the peephole. She looked thin. Pale. Hair pulled back in a tight bun. She was wearing a hoodie I hadn't seen since last year. I opened the door but didn't say anything. She stood there in silence for a few seconds. Can I come in? No, she glanced down at her feet. I messed up. I stayed quiet. She went on. He's not who I thought he was. He's living with someone else now. I think he's using her too. I let her talk. She tried to play the victim. Said Darren manipulated her. Said she didn't know how to leave. Said she only took Bear because Darren told her to. You believe that? I asked. She shook her head. I don't even know anymore. Then she asked if we could settle everything privately. I laughed. Couldn't help it. Not a loud laugh, more like a quiet, angry one. You burned this bridge. You didn't just cheat. You stole from me. You tried to ruin me. Tears welled up in her eyes. I didn't care. She left without another word. But that night, I got another email. This one from her lawyer. They were withdrawing the lawsuit. No explanation. Just a dry legal notice that they were dropping the case. But I knew it wasn't over. Not really. Because a week later, Darren's name showed up in a new police report. The police report came from a woman named Eliza. She lived in Denver. She filed a restraining order against Darren after he trashed her apartment. Claimed he got angry when she found out he'd lied about being single. He was arrested for trespassing and property damage. But what got me was the arrest record included 2 aliases. One of them matched a fake last name he'd used on social media. I drove to the courthouse the next day. Got a copy of the report. Then I made a decision. I filed a civil case against both Kelly and Darren. Not for money. Not for revenge. For truth. I filed on grounds of defamation, emotional distress, and theft. I had more than enough proof, the recordings, the texts, the photos, the messages from other women. I filed under my full legal name and made the entire record public. I also gave all of it to their workplaces. Kelly had tried applying to new marketing firms around town. I emailed her public profile and a short summary of the lawsuit to every HR contact I could find. Nothing slanderous. Just facts. Quotes. Dates. Screenshots. 2 months later, I got word from a contact in Boulder. Darren tried applying for a position at a tech company but was rejected after a background check. Word was spreading. As the court case picked up steam, Kelly tried reaching out again. Called me 3 times. Left a voicemail. Said she'd missed Bear and hoped I'd let things go. She sounded desperate. Not sorry, desperate. I didn't answer. At the hearing, she didn't show up. Darren did. He wore a wrinkled blazer and smiled like he still thought he could charm his way out. He didn't say much. His lawyer tried spinning everything. Said Darren never intended harm, that Kelly acted on her own, that the recordings were invasive. But I had it all documented. The judge took one look at the email where Darren wrote, "Let's milk this for what it's worth. He's dumb enough to roll over," and stop the trial cold. Judgment in my favor. Damages awarded. Nothing crazy, just enough to cover legal costs and then some. But that wasn't the real win. The real win came 2 weeks later. I got a call from the same Denver shelter where I'd found Bear. Said someone had dropped off another golden retriever. Not Bear, but they remembered me and wanted to say thank you for reporting what I'd seen. Turns out, Darren had tried to use another woman's dog as leverage during a fight. That woman pressed charges. He's facing jail time now. Nothing major, probably a year, maybe less, but it's enough. Enough to knock that smug look off his face. Kelly? Last I heard, she moved back in with her mom in Greeley. Her reputation's shot. Nobody's hiring her. And she's burned every friend she had. And me? I still live in the same house. Bear sleeps next to me every night. I go on long walks, I work my quiet job, and I don't speak her name out loud anymore. I don't need to. She buried herself. And I made sure the world saw the headstone.